Okay, well, welcome to everybody on the East Coast and on the West Coast, whether it's good morning or good afternoon for you. I'm excited to be here. Last year I attended the symposium for the first time, and so I'm excited to present to you today. I'm actually have two screens because I'm helping behind the scenes, so trying to figure out, actually I might switch it to this one. There we go. Trying to figure out which way so you can see me and I can see my notes. Well, a little bit information about me. I direct the educational programs at the Ecosystem Preserve here at Calvin University. It is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so it's a small university on the campus. It's about a quarter acre here that our gardens and preserve is. And along with me in this effort to create implement an HRX at Calvin program is my director, Dr. Jamie Skillen, here, and we co-created together. So I'm going to give you a little bit background of how we went about creating it in the last year. And so in the fall of 2020, I actually began writing and researching about the program and ways to implement it on our campus. And it became a part of my master's work. I'm currently in a master's program about creating community programs. And this was actually took over my whole master's program basically, and I used it for a multitude of classes and just kept building on it. And so I first initially wrote a policy paper, and that paper I presented to my director, and he got all excited about it and said, let's do it, which was amazing. And then while that was all happening, I met Don in a APAGA meeting, and he said, hey, there's this amazing symposium, come join us. And so I did, and I got to hear from Dorothy and Jennifer and be inspired, and others. And then Don invited us to meet with him. Jamie and I met with him and got to pick his brain for over an hour. So I will say that is something that I'm gonna toss it out. Don's willing to do. Hopefully Don is. But it was well worth it. If you're interested in starting a program, please talk to him, talk to me, talk to Dorothy, others. And then we began to actually implement the program in February of 2021. And I documented it as part of an action research project for my master's. So part of this presentation is based on that. Dorothy, if I can have the next slide. So a little bit about Calvin. I told you a little bit, but I want to add some more details to that. Is that it's because I'm sure a lot of you don't know about it, because it is a small university. It's a 4-year undergraduate institution, focuses on liberal arts education. We have around 3,000 students, and that includes undergrad, graduate, and seminary. And the mission of the university is to equip students to think deeply, act justly, and to live wholeheartedly as Christ agents for renewal. We are a faith-based campus, and that goes through everything we do here. The really cool part about my job is that creation care is a priority within our Christian faith, of the Christian Reformed faith. And so that means that is something they really put a focus on here. And we have a wealth of green space on our campus. So if you can see the campus map, you'll look and see there's a lot of green space, and that quarter on the top part is the Ecosystem Preserve. It's 100 acres of the 400-acre urban campus. Grand Rapids, if you don't know about it, is actually the second largest city in Michigan, right after Detroit. So we are in the city limits and as an urban preserve. Next slide, Dorothy. Some ways we serve, you'll see some photos of the Ecosystem Preserve and how we serve our college community. We serve with career development. The majority of my staff, similar to Dorothy, almost everything that we do here is actually is run by Calvin students. So we have up to, at times, 25 students, both in land management and education, and communications and marketing, that help us do our job here. And we also have volunteers and service learning opportunities for students, as well as I lead nature and mindfulness walks We have lots of curriculum connections and partnerships with the different professors, from engineering professors to art professors to professors in the sciences. Occasionally we do fire pits. We got a fire pit permit from our city. So we have these cool fire pit gatherings for students to just come be in our gardens and sit outside. And then a huge part of what we do fits well within the NatureRx context is this idea of Sabbath space of rest and relaxation, and that the preserve is the Sabbath or the quiet space for the busyness of rest of campus. And so we're encouraging students to just walk the 5 minutes over to just be in this quiet space, to be present. Next slide, Dorothy. And so how we went about this is I proposed an implementation based on Don's wonderful book and the outline that he had in his book. And so you can see it up here. Phase 1 was to investigate and commit, join the NatureRx network in the spring of 2020. We have joined, but we still need to get ourselves up on the website. I'm on it, Dorothy. Phase 2 is to cultivate and create a steering committee. And this is a campus-wide steering committee that I'm going to talk more about, and engage student organizations and cultivate relationships with faculty and staff in the academic program. And we did that. And again, that will be in the next couple of slides, how we went about that. And phase 3, which is what we're currently in, is to design, engage, and implement passive and active programming, and launch a welcome week fall 2021. We're still working on that, but it's all work in progress, as Dorothy said earlier. It's we are doing what we can with the resources we have. And phase 4 will be to evaluate and record successes and challenges. And so we will do that at the end of our first year. Next slide, Dorothy. So we built support. You can see my lovely word, our cloud. We built support with a variety of different departments. And so that was my main research question for my action research project. And that was, how do we build institutional support amongst faculty and staff for this NatureRx at Calvin program? And how could we motivate these busy staff and faculty to invest in this program and join our steering committee? And what best practices could come out of this process that I could share with others? So we invited 21 internal stakeholders from a variety of departments, and you can see the departments in the word art, from student life to campus ministries to art, economics, the honors program, our communications and arts and sciences program, our president of Student Senate to represent the student body. The majority of those folks, about 21, showed up for our initial meetings. So that was pretty exciting. They were all done via Zoom because it was during COVID last year. But it was very exciting to be able to see everybody in the room and being very positive about this new program. Next steps. So just if you're not familiar with action research, I would give you a little bit background on that. It is basically addresses and works to solve problems in real time using systematic inquiry approaches, and takes into account those dynamic systems in the workplace. And so, as I said, this was during COVID. It was during during COVID, we couldn't meet all together, which would have been ideal. So it had to be all done on Teams. And we were trying to build this community capacity across to get everybody excited about this program. So how we did it is we held 2 introductory meetings. We gathered a lot of qualitative data that I had to process. That was fun. During the meetings, and that was things like, let me think some of them. Some of the stuff was like, what was being done? So what was currently being done on the campus that would already meet NatureRx criteria. And then, and those were across the areas of academics and teaching, extracurricular activities, leisure, and mental, spiritual, and physical health. And then we also gathered additional data using a survey, and this included data for those that couldn't join the original meetings, and some of them then provided through the survey. It also, we collected things of what would they dream, what would they hope for when we were doing this. And then following that, we had 8 people join our steering committee. And we held a multiple, I think 4 steering committee meetings that helped us create a mission statement and a strategic plan to guide us into this next couple years as we move forward. Next slide. So here's our mission that everybody came up with. And so it's a collaborative initiative that communicates the benefits of engagement with nature, improved mental, physical well-being, and a sense of community, and facilitates this engagement through inclusive programs and self-service resources. That was really important for us. The self-service part is that we're all busy and stretched pretty thin here at the campus. And so we wanted to make sure we had programming that we could do signature programming, but also all the great programming and bring it under a communication umbrella across campus to get our message out there. So we're really seeing this as a way to take all the good work we're already doing and bundling it together in communicating this message of getting outside and that nature is medicine. Next slide. So some reflections on the program as I think back about what we've accomplished and where we need to go. The initiative is bringing together academic and support services departments across campus together, which was really amazing in a coordinated and collaborative way. Lessons learned and data gathered during the first 2 cycles of the action research provided a foundation and direction for our future work. And this reflections include overall response and support for NatureRx at Calvin was very, very positive. And we had high administrators that joined some of the initial meetings, and they were very positive about it. As long as it didn't affect the bottom line and we could do what we could do, they're all for it. And data gathered of what has already been done to get members of our community to spend more time in green spaces, and dreams of what we would like to do was really important. And so the tremendous amount of work is already being done. And then the dreams of where we could focus our energy on. We got 6 members to join our steering committee of 8, including Jamie and I. Though we've lost a few because a few left the university this summer and fall. So we're going to pick back some additional members up in the future. And really, we're trying to focus on collaboration and communication about existing programs and not creating new programs. But as I said, sharing what we already do and putting it under this umbrella of let's get outside because it's important for our mental and physical well-being. And if I would have one future wish, it would be one of the main needs is to identify in the data is the need for new temporary and permanent outdoor teaching and gathering spaces. We are in a more northern climate, and that was the one thing that was identified. We have very few benches for people even to sit outside. And certainly we have very few like teaching and learning spaces. And so that was something that the professors that were the faculty in our group were really wanting is to implement that. Next slide. So moving forward, I want you to meet James and Amanda on the top row. We just recently hired them. They are 2 new university events assistants, and I hired them to help me develop and implement programs and partnerships to engage Calvin students with the mission of the Preserve and the NatureRx at Calvin program. And then the bottom picture is of Natalie. And Natalie, this summer, we hired her and based off of the work that Dorothy has done and the work that is done by several of the other universities in the NatureRx, she helped take all the inspiration from them and built our new map this summer. To highlight green spaces on campus and around our community. And so I will say though, we've had a slow start to fall of 2021, and we have yet to have a regular meeting or kick off the Nature RX at Calvin program, but we're going to pull it together. And, you know, as Dorothy says, it's just one step at a time. So, and one of the things I found is we really need somebody to really coordinate the group, because we're all busy people moving in different directions. We all want to do it, but somebody to coordinate it is something that I would say we're struggling with right now. Dorothy, one of the final slides. So this is just it hasn't launched yet, but this is the draft of our Nature RX at Calvin map that you can see. And so hopefully it will launch in the next few weeks. We're just figuring out how to tie it into our Calvin University website at this moment in time. And then our Calvin students will do some publicizing to get folks to know more about this in Nature RX program. Last slide. So if you want to learn more about our efforts, or if you're interested in reading my 50-page action research project that documents the whole process, I'm more than welcome to send it to you. Maybe somebody outside of my professor and my classmates will read it. But it is there. It actually has the whole process that documented, and all of the agendas and the strategic plan and everything that we put together is in that document. So you're welcome to email me. My email address is on that slide. You're also welcome to contact my director, who is also the co-chair, and for if you have questions about our program. Thanks.